Whoa! Sab Shed! Sab's Shed.
Hello, Turk lovers, and now it's time to go inside the machine with another episode from Tron-Sabbaton. Hello again. This is another little video here from myself, Tron-Sabbaton, from inside the machine. Oh, why won't you let me out? Anyway, here we are. I'm currently talking to you from inside the Arduino programming platform, which is what this thing is here. And this is one of the little sketches what I've cobbled together from bits of code I've found on the net and things I've learned myself, and I've sort of stapled it all together. So it's probably not very elegant, but it kind of works. And for my Turk head, I'm using at present 4 Arduinos. And this bit of code is a sketch which I've called slave BTLE, which is for Bluetooth low energy. And this is the sort of primary control Arduino sketch that actually lives on the head, the Turk head itself. There are now 2 Arduinos on the Turk head, but this is the main one that receives instructions. It does various things like control the servos, like we have here, speed of the servos, and the NeoPixel LED lights, bringing them on and off, different colors, fading in and fading out, and all that good stuff. And it does it via Bluetooth. Right, and what I've got to do now is, because I added a second Arduino that controls an MP3 player that plays a few local sounds, I've now got to stitch in a new bit of code to make that work. So I printed it all out and I've written a bit more code, so I'm going to try and do that now. So what I need to do, first of all, I thought I'd just bring you in and show you a little bit. I hope it's a little bit interesting. So where I've got my, where is it gone? There we are. Where it says include various speed servo up here, which is an Arduino library that controls the servos at different speeds, variable speeds. I'm going to add a different library. What I do there is, if I can figure this out, of course I'm a beginner at all this, I'm going to include another library. What this does is it calls, if I'm right, this what's known as calling a library, and the library I'm going to call is the wire library. I need to just do that. Okay, so that's it. Include wire.h, because this particular Arduino board is connected to the MP3 Arduino board via a hard wire, 2 hard wires, sorry, and it does that via particular commands, and it needs this particular wire library to do it. So that's me saying I want to use this guy, and then I need to go down to, in the setup area, which is here, which tells where you put all your sorts of main parameters. I need to find an area. Where should I put it? Where I put my yaw servo, right, there we are. I'm going to put another line. I think I'm going to put it into, actually I'll have to do it there. Right, so I'm going to put here, I'm going to tell it to begin, so I'm going to put wire, which is the sort of thing I'm communicating across, wire begin, and a couple of brackets like that, across all parameters, and then you have to end the line with a semicolon, which is like return. Okay, so that's saying, so I've set up my library and I've said, right, I want it to begin. Basically, you're opening the floodgates, as it were. Right, turn the page. Now we go down to the loop section, which is here, which is the main sort of part of the program as it runs. You know what you want it to do. So I've got loads of stuff here about, if it receives certain messages via Bluetooth, that translates as, say, making the head do a fast pan right, and I've got a whole list of stuff here. As I say, this could be done much more elegantly, but I'm a bit of a dunce with all this sort of thing, but I'm doing my best. So here I'm the loop, void loop, that's where you start it, and I need to put in with all these little commands. That's my first one, slow nod once. That's my first thing, my first command that I've set up. So at the moment I've got when it receives a particular signal, which is the number 65, which is the ASCII code for A, which is what I've been transmitting down the Bluetooth. I know this sounds gobbledygook, but just run with it. You say, okay, Tron-Sabbaton. So when you receive this, I want you to move the left servo and the right servo, these values, which will actually translate to making it go down. And then I want you to wait 3000 milliseconds. And then I want you to come back up again and wait another 3000 milliseconds. So that makes it go down and up. But I also want, when it goes down and up, to make a noise, which I've done. I've edited a little bit of sound design together, which is kind of like a load of cogs moving, you know, sort of thing, if that sounds like cogs. Anyway, so I'm going to add in when I receive that, so I need another line. So when you get that 65 signal, I want to transmit another command down that hard line to the MP3 Arduino, and this is how I think you do it. This may go horribly wrong. So anyway, I'm going wire begin transmission, and I should have that. Yeah, I'm going to put in brackets 10 because I'm going to call my other Arduino board that I'm talking to on this line. I'm going to give it an identity, which is a number 10, which I'm going to assign to it when I come to write that code. And then another semicolon, which is a return. And then I need to say, okay, well, what? So that's opening up the line. And now I want to write a command to it, which I'm going to go, wire, I've done that wrong. Wire dot write. I hope I'm doing this right. And then I want to do right. I want to send it the number 4, which will translate when I come to write the other bit of code to play track 4, which happens to be this cog sound. I've got about 3 or 4 of these cog sounds that last different durations, like half a second, 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, depending on what move the head makes. Okay, so I think we're going to start off by using that one. Have I done that? I've done that completely wrong. Wire dot right. So you have to look at your syntax here, otherwise it'll go, I don't understand. A bit like me. And then once we've sent that message, i.e. number 4, we want to close our little tunnel of love, our communication line. So I'm going to close it again. Do I need to do that in capitals? I think I do. I think it's in capitals. Yeah, there is a syntax here that I'm trying to remember. But so I think it starts with a capital and then dot end. That means, yeah, stop it, end mission. And I think I can leave that open, like end all. Maybe that's wrong, I don't know. Anyway, there you go. So that's it. That should do it. Now I've got to do the same thing with all of these statements, but with different MP3 tracks that I want it to play. Like this is 4, the next one, for example, is 1. Anyway, there's tons here. Look at them all. I will do my best. Hello. This is the next sketch I'm going to do a little bit of work on. Again, it's cobbled together from bits I found on the net and that I've teased out with some more hacking here and there. So this is the MP3 control for the second Arduino board that's on the Turk head. Right, what do I need to do here? At the moment, I've just got it playing a test track. So what I need to do is, again, I need to make the same statement of including whatever it's called, which is this wire thing. Well, I'm trying to make sure my syntax is right. .h. I think that's all I need to do right there. Okay, there you go. Okay, wire.h. Have I done that right? I think so. Let's put that on a separate line just in case. Made a mistake there. Okay, and then I need to go down to serial begin there. Yeah, so what I want to do, let's do that. Okay, is again write wire dot begin to open the main line of conf, and I think this is where I'm going to call it 10, and I need to put a little thing there. Okay, I'm just going to make that like that. Okay, good. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, sometimes I forget about spacing, but anyway, that's that. What else do I need to do? Okay. Oh my goodness, this is getting complicated now. Let's see, where does it go? Oh, I find my way. If my this is all the ifs and buts here. Serial print line F. I'm just finding my place. Just bear with me for a sec. Player volume, set volume. That's the one. Okay, that's that line there. From thingy to thingy. Right. What the bleep am I doing? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is not going to be a very good video, this is it. It shows you how I get confused. Right, this is what I'm going to write. I'm going to write void. Flipping Nora. Is that a... Yeah. Void receive. I can't spell for toffee. I before E except after C. Receive. Yeah, capital event. Oh, blimey. Int bytes and a little curly whirly open bracket. What's the next thing I need to do? And then I go X because I'm going to make something. X equals whatever comes through on that wire I was telling you about. And read one character from... yes, right. And then I'm going to leave a little note, which is this. I do that, telling me what this is doing. Read one character from the I squared C device line. That's what this is. It's basically an I squared C device. Right, I've done that, and then that. What's that? Call it. Oh yeah, okay. Now on the void loop, which is down here, what do I have to do? I have to go down there and give it a... I think this is right. If X, and you have to do double equal to 1. So if it receives a 1, again, I'm learning as I'm doing this, so I might be getting this completely wrong. If X receives 1, oh, I know. Tell the player to play track 1. That's essentially what we're doing, right? Play, I'll just change that. Play I'll change this a minute. Play MP3 track 1. Okay. Then we're going to wait, because if we don't have a wait line, it will just do it over and over again. And then what we need to do is, so we've got that. So we're opening the loop. If he does that, do that, and we need to close that loop, I think. Delay. Yeah, that's right. So we're going to just bring that. That's the loop curly bracket. So I'm going to make another curly bracket there. So that you can see that curly bracket corresponds to this curly bracket. This curly bracket is that one. So what I'm going to do now is do another one. In fact, I might just cut and paste that. So we need to do this for all. Copy. Am I right? Let me just check my notes. Yeah. And we've got 5 MP3 tracks. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to say, if we receive 2, then I want you to play track 2. And that's just a little note to self. And we forgot to put the plumbing curly bracket in. Ain't ya? Eh? Oh, yes. Curly bracket. There it is. Right. There it is right there. So here's what I want to do. Just make sure these are, if x equals 2, open bracket, on the player, play track 2. That's a note to self. That just, when you do that, you can write hello there or whatever and wait. Okay, and we'll close that bracket. So we need to copy that. Let's make sure we do that. And then I'm going to misalign, do that again. Control V. I may as well do all these here. I know this is not making much sense because I'm rambling, but I'm trying to work it out as I'm doing it. And I may have made a mistake here. Anyway, I'm going to just carry on. So that's 3, because there's only 5 tracks to play with. 4. Yep. And one more. If x is equal to 5. Oh, I made a mistake there, didn't I? 5. I can see a mistake I've made, because I haven't done. I didn't change that. That needs to be 4. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep. Delay. And then we've got our end loop, so we can bring that back there. So you can see that is the loop. Right. And now I'm going to see if that works. If I press a little tick button here, it checks the whole code to see if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. Oh dear, oh dear. Void receive event. It doesn't like this line. So I've made a mistake. What have I done wrong? Void receive event int bytes. What have I done wrong? Open curly brackets. Int bytes. Oh dear, I'll have to think about this. Right, see you in a minute. Or days, or whatever it might be. Back again. Here we are on the old MP3 sketch. Yeah, I found the problem that I was having. It was with this line here, I think. And one problem was I put it in the wrong place. I put it inside the setup area. It should be just outside it, really. That was point 1. And secondly, I hadn't already recognized or set up this value of x. So at the top here, I've just put a line int x equals 0, which means, hey man, there's an integer here. I'm calling it x, and at the moment it's equal to 0. So it's a whole number, right? So I've set it up there, which means now the program won't go, hang on a minute, I don't know what you mean by x. So I've told it that x is basically a number, a whole number. And then in the main loop, I've made one extra change. So it says if x equals 1, if that's coming through the wire, play track 1 on the MP3. But then after that, I'm saying to the computer or the program, I'm saying, oh, now, by the way, I want you to reset x to 0 and then wait for 10,000 milliseconds, which is a second. Okay, and then so it's reset to 0. So there you go. Otherwise, it might keep playing the same track over and over again, which is what it would do. Anyway, so there we are. And just to prove it, I'll go up to my little tick thing, which is a compile checker, and I'll click on that. See, it's doing the progress here. And is it going to work? Yes, it's saying done compiling, which means it's checked it all. It's checked all the code, and it's okay. No nasty orange lines. It's all done. Now what I'm going to do is I've connected it. You can't see it because I am Tron-Sabbaton inside the machine, but outside I've got a USB cable coming out, and that is joined to the Arduino board on the head that controls the MP3. So I'm now going to upload this program, or sketch as they call it. Sketch is another word for a program in Arduino world. So on here, that means upload. So if I go click, it's showing you the progress. It's compiling it, and I'm looking at the Arduino. It's uploading, and it's still uploading. It's still uploading. Oh, it's not going to do it. I've realized. You see, I'm going to leave this. It's going to go on and on and on. It's going to come up with an error. See, it still says uploading, and it shouldn't take very long. But in a minute, I've come across this before. It's going to come up with an error. It's going to go orange. The reason is I've again hacked the system, the Arduino board, because there was a problem with when I was using these two Arduino boards connected together, one as an I2C device connected up via these two wires, that the auto reset, which is a setting by default on these Arduino boards, stops the communications. So I kind of found out a hack for this where you can disable the auto reset by putting a resistor between the reset pin and the ground pin. And that does work, but if you are uploading a new sketch like I'm doing here and it still does not compute, it won't do it. If you've done that, if you put this resistor across the reset pin and the ground pin, it will not accept this new sketch. So what you have to do is remember to disconnect it before you upload any new sketches, and I've got to do it. So here it's come up orange, problem uploading to board. So now, because I haven't soldered anything together, it's all done through jumper wires, I can reach across here, or rather I am Tron-Sabbaton, so I'm going to ask Sabbaton outside of the machine to do that now. Mr. Sabbaton, will you play? He says yes. Oh, I can see he's doing it now. He's looking for the resistor. In fact, it's not a resistor, it's a capacitor. You stupid boy. Right, where is it? Is that, what are you doing? There you are. Right, I'm now taking that out of there, unpinning. Yeah, I've got to double check that is correct, isn't it? Yeah, 1, 2, it's the third one up. Right, now we'll do it again. So now I'm going to upload. I've clicked it on. Let's see if it worked this time. Uploading, and it's done uploading. So there we are. We fixed it. And now I'll ask real Sabbaton, can you connect it up again, please? He's nodding his head. Right, I can see that he's 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that the right one? He's this the one. minus of 3. Okay, there you go. Into the reset. Reset. Checking. He's checking the pins. 1, 2, 3. Reset and ground. Right. Yes, he's done that. Everything seems to be working. Okay. Now I need to go outside of the machine and see if it works. So Tron-Sabbaton signing off. Oh, right, I'm back with you again. I'm sorry it's a bit tedious, this video, but I just felt I should, try and include you guys in this adventure with me. And some of it is trying to work out very difficult problems, which my brain is not really suited to. But nonetheless, I'm doing it. And we'll talk about why I do these things at a later date. But I've had a hell of a problem since the last little segment. I tried to get it to work. It didn't work. I could not understand why it wouldn't work. So I went right back to the beginning again, and I made 2 very simple sketches or programs to test all the different components, the MP3 player on its own, whether I could send a command to trigger an MP3 via this hard wire thing I was trying to explain. And blimey, some bits worked and some bits didn't, and oh blimey, I just had to try and figure it out myself in the end. It's like trying to work out an enigma machine. It's really code breaking, really, for me anyway, because I say my brain doesn't really naturally understand these things, but I'm kind of forcing it. Anyway, it works now. It works, but it's about 10 hours later, and I've figured it out, sort of. I don't really understand all of it, but let me take you through it. This is my slave Bluetooth and command side of things. So let me see, from the top line here, this is all to do with neopixels, which are the eyes that light up. That doesn't really matter in this, what I'm talking about here, nor does that. So this one here, this line include y.h, that was fine. That was to include the wire, set up the wire, call the wire library. And this was one thing I had to do. I had to set up a byte. I called it value, and I told, and I made it equal to 0. Okay, so I had a sort of had to create this sort of this value. Do you call it a string? I'm trying to remember my 1980s computer studies classes. I can't remember. Anyway, it's some sort of byte value that I'm assigning at this point 0. So I don't suppose it is a string. No. Anyway, it's a thing, and at the moment it's 0. Forget the vary speeds. That doesn't matter at the moment. Forget that. That's irrelevant at this point. These servos are irrelevant. Why begin? We covered that. That was fine. So the main thing is I had to add this byte value equals 0 at the top. Now this was another issue here. The serial begin line and the Bluetooth begin line are in this common, what they call baud rate, which I put at 38,400. That has to be the same to make it work. I'm not going to go into it, it just does. All right, this sets up all the Bluetooth, and that seems to work okay. That sets up the neopixels. That's irrelevant right now. So we're now in the loop section, which is the main activity area, and I'm saying if there's a Bluetooth signal coming in, read it. And then we're into our command section. So as I said before, this is my first one. I'm trying to this is where I ask the head to do a slow nod once. So like I said, if through the Bluetooth I receive the number 65 or the ASCII code 65, just forget that, just accept it. I want you to do this. So if you do receive 65, first of all, I'm going to make val equal to 4. Remember, at the moment, val is 0 at the top. But now, when I receive 65, the first thing to do is set val to 4. and then I'm going to begin my transmission line to Arduino number 10, which is the MP3 Arduino. That's what I did before. And then this was the problem. I said wire right 4 before number 4, but it doesn't like that. I guess it has to be some sort of symbolic byte information package. So I changed it to val. This is why I've done it here. So at the moment val is equal to 4, and we've set up val upstairs here, so that's okay. So I've said whatever val is, write that down my hard wire, and at the moment, remember, it's 4, and it's 4 because when the other Arduino receives 4, I ask it to play track 4 on the MP3. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm sending the value of val, which is 4, down the line, and then after that I'm going to end that transmission. And then this is the movement that I want it to do, and then at the end of the movement I reset val to 0, the original state. So these are the extra lines I've put in, and I had to painstakingly try these things out little by little. Anyway, eventually I got there, and I've done that for all of these things. So here val is 1 because I want it to play track 1 on the other side. Here it's 3 because I want it to play track 3. Da la 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 la. Okay, so that's that. That's all I need to show you on that side. So if I go to the next one, which is called my sound sketch, there it is. Here it is, right up here. So at the top here, again, this is all the same, setting up libraries, calling libraries, including the wire library there, and I'm setting up an integer x to be 0 up here. Again, I don't really understand why some of these things are different, but I've cobbled it together from sources and what I've worked out myself. So sometimes you just have to accept things if they work, although it's annoying. So that's okay. Never mind that. Again, I've here I've opened up my comms line and I've assigned 10 as the identity of this Arduino board. Remember, this goes onto a different Arduino board. Serial begin here and my software serial have a different baud rate here of 9600, which is different to the other one, because I found out that the MP3 player just likes being played at this baud rate. Baud rate is a kind of value of data, or how big a comms line or tube that you're setting up. Forgive me rambling, that's as best as I can tell you right now. And then I've got a little line here, wire on receive event, which is setting up kind of listening command, if you like, I think. What have I got here? So that's all setting up the MP3 player, and then here there's this the same command here to look out for something coming down the line, and it's saying when you do read what's coming down the line, put it into this thing called X, and then we come to the main activity section. And there are only 5 here because there's only 5 tracks. So it says if X is equal to 1, if the number 1 comes shooting down this wire, I want you to play track 1. Now here is another error that I made, schoolboy error. Before I just put open brackets 1 close brackets, but there are a lot of odd things going on in all these components. It likes things a certain way. Machines are essentially stupid at this level, so they're very moody. This MP3 player likes 3 zeros before the track number, otherwise it won't play. So that's what I've done. And then what I've done is I've reset X here again, down there. So after every command it receives, it resets to 0 and then listens again. And that's the same here. If it receives a 2, play track 2, reset to 0. So that's it, and it works. So I know this is an awful ramble. I'm not a computer wizard by any means. I'm just a belligerent guy who wants to make magic happen. Oh. Right, I'll sign you over now to real Sabbaton outside of the machine, and he can show you this. Oh, God. And I am spent.
Right. Hello. Almost said Cthulhu lovers then. Hello, Cthulhu lovers, and Turk lovers, and all lovers in between. Right, I'm outside here. I'll start this again. It's rubbish, isn't it? Hello, Turk lovers, and thank you to Tron-Sabbaton here. Well, I'll just show you what we've done over here. There's our friend Hector here, which is of course our prototype Turk, I'm just going to show you what I've done. I think I've shown you around this before many a time, but anyway, there's all sorts of stuff going on. And over here I'm using, oh, you can't see on the computer, I'm using my SCS software, which is the software I use to run sound cues in the show, but it can also run MIDI cues, which it's sending out for the Turk at the moment down through a MIDI interface, through a little MIDI card on an Arduino that's connected to another Arduino that's connected to a Bluetooth module that's connected to another Bluetooth module through space on the Turk head, so it's wireless, that's connected to this Arduino board, that's connected to all the servos, which are down here, and also the NeoPixels, which are here for eyes if we need them. And also that board is connected to, yes, another board. Now the wire I was talking about in the, oh sorry, Tron-Sabbaton was talking about in the Arduino software. It's these two wires here mostly are the comms lines that go all the way to, on the other board, these comms line here, making this Arduino board, I believe, an I2C device. And then of course the MP3 player, which is hiding behind here, is connected to this board here. Alright, of course I'd forgotten to ground these two together, so I had to sort of solder an extra pin there on the back of this board to ground the two Arduino boards together, which is one of the issues. But that's what I was talking about, if that makes any sense whatsoever. At the moment I've run out of cheap batteries from Wilkinson, so I've hooked up my old dad's bench power supply, which is this crazy looking thing here, which is pumping out at the moment 9 volts, which is the same as a PP3 battery, and then it goes down here into there, and then from there it goes into one of those little voltage regulators what I made. It looks like a funny insect, that thing there, see it? And that takes down the voltage from 9 volts on this end to 5 volts on this end, which is what the MP3 player likes. So that's a little safety valve, if you like. Anyway, let's see if it works. So I'm going to hit go on this little cue list I've made, and we'll see if the sounds will work. You know, the volume may be, I may have to adjust the volume, and I may adjust the track times, but that's for a later time. But and there's still some control issues, but let me see if I can get it working for you. Let me see if I can. There we are. So it's nodding its head, and it's making that sort of cog sound. I'll try another one. There's a fast nod, and see if I can do a fast nod twice. So that one might have to be shortened. Let's just try I don't know, what else have we got? Slow pan left, and hopefully I can center it again. There we go. And we'll try one to the right. Let's try that one. Come on, you. There, so it's panning to the right and tilting. These servos are completely mashed now inside. This is why it's not really moving very well, or at least that's my excuse. because they are. The gears inside, they're plastic gears, and they're completely mashed. All three of them are mashed now, so it's catching. So once the Arts Council funding comes through, fingers crossed. Oh, it's very scary. Those servo motors, which only cost £3.50, which is why they break probably, they're going to be replaced with Metal Gear ones, so I hope they're going to be more resilient. As is these clone Bluetooth modules, they're going to be replaced by the real McCoy, because they're only about 99p, and the real ones are like £8. And they can't really deal with multiple addresses, so I need to flip them out because I want to make another device which is a color change lantern. More on that next year. So we're doing some upgrades. The servos need upgrading, the Bluetooth modules, I need at least 3 of those, and there's a control issue. Sometimes when I press a cue, get one of these cues going, it doesn't respond, and the problem there is on this side of things where the MIDI signals are coming down the pipe there into this interface and then into this board before it goes over to the Bluetooth board, and it's to do with, I think, the buffer size on this card, and I've tried hacking into it and adjusting it, and it improved it a bit, but not great. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this Arduino Uno clone, which costs about £5. I'm going to replace it with its bigger brother, which is called an Arduino Mega. It's going to be a clone as well because it's cheaper, but which is again about £8, I think. And that has a bigger buffer size, I think. So I'm going to do that. So those are the 3 upgrades I need to do once my little bit of funding comes in. But this is the sort of end of my R&D on the mechanical side of the Turk. I'm still not sure how exactly we're going to use it. But the way I work is I try and figure out what could be possible. And then I work and see if I can make that happen. And then I sort of, and the theory behind that is I like to create a little sandbox in which I can play. So I'm just seeing what's possible. The next thing I'm going to do is start to work on the sound and the sound design, and that'll give me a sort of feel for the show. You know, I want to find out how the show wants to speak, and I know how that sounds a little bit out there, but that's sort of how I piece it together. And the script comes later, you know. I get into it this way, find out who these characters are, and I'm doing acting work and I'm doing all this weird electronics work and set. Look, there's the original white card model set in the background there. And there's Stan and Ollie, my 2 desk guardians. Anyway, I ramble. So that's where we are. I'll continue working on this fella. Of course, we've made a little virtual model. See, I cut off his moustache. Oh, it's like Samson. And currently I'm working on making a new virtual model for him, so we can
Whoa! Sab Shed!
Sab's Shed.